This gentleman from California is recognized.
There are two sights that we should never see in this country, but have become all too familiar in places like this. The first is open-air drug markets. The second is stores that have to put basic merchandise under lock and key, not just jewelry or expensive electronics, but gardening supplies at Home Depot, soap and shampoo at CVS. These conditions make people feel unsafe, they degrade the quality of life, and they fuel still greater criminal activity. And yet, these conditions do not exist uniformly across the country. Rather, they are concentrated in jurisdictions like this one. They are the product of conscious political choices. So, Mr. Grace, as one example, could you tell us about the Kensington neighborhood here in Philadelphia, the open-air drug market there, and the political choices that have ushered in that reality?
Get your microphone there.
Happy you asked this question. So this again points directly to Larry Krasner. The 24th Police District was a district I was at for 12 years. It's Kensington, Allegheny. In the media, it's known as the Kensington Beach. You see videos of it. In fact, this is very embarrassing. Mexico used video from Kensington Avenue as an anti-drug commercial in Mexico. It is the land of the walking dead. It is disgraceful. I've never seen it this bad in my life. And there's one reason why it's this bad. It's Larry Krasner. It all points back to him. He has stopped the gears of the criminal justice system from working. And when this happens, we saw the pile up down there. He stopped locking people up for minor possessions, which people down there in Kensington we would lock up for heroin, mainly, crack sometimes. Now they're getting fentanyl. They're users. They're not selling. They have low levels on them. Now they're not being prosecuted. Well, we're not just talking about sending them to jail. What happens is they go to court and they get put in treatment programs, and they get help. Not all of them. Most of them come back to the streets and they're off the street. Some of them do get help and they don't come back. And they prosecute the drug dealers. That's not happening anymore. So what we see now is exactly points to Larry Krasner, is the pile up from the criminal justice system not doing what it's supposed to do. The drug users are not getting help. The drug dealers are not getting prosecuted. And we have Kensington Avenue. It is a disgrace.
That's such an important point, is these policies are fundamentally lacking in compassion because they don't get people the help that they need to turn their lives around. Mr. Bicchetto, could you tell us about what the district attorney's approach to retail theft has been and what the consequences have been?
Well, the consequences have been terrible. The memo that was circulated in the district attorney's office said that any retail theft not exceeding $500 in value will not be prosecuted. The line DAs are to stand down and dismiss the charges. The consequence has been rising levels, frightening rising levels of retail theft, to the point where major and minor department stores, pharmacies, bodegas are all moving out of Philadelphia. Wawa moved several facilities out of Philadelphia. H&K moved out of Philadelphia. All of these retailers that rely upon some semblance of enforcement of anti-theft laws are moving out. The ones that haven't moved out, they're hiring their own private police force. They're hiring their own security guards. And unfortunately, we had a situation not long ago in Philadelphia where a private security guard actually shot and killed a would-be thief. Now, you don't want would-be thieves of minor amounts of money being shot to death. But that's what happens when the system won't react and the system won't operate and people take matters into their own hands.
That's right.
I thought we, years, decades, centuries ago, got past the idea of people taking matters into their own hands and having an organized law enforcement system for a civilized society.
That's right.
We do not have that any longer in Philadelphia, thanks to Mr. Krasner.
The link couldn't be clearer between the political choices and the reality that folks are forced to cope with. And, you know, for the last year, Mr. Chairman, this committee has been examining the crime crisis that exists in cities across this country, and everywhere we look, it's the same story. It's the same three causes. It's criminal laws that don't have appropriate consequences for criminal activity. It's police departments that have been deprived of funding and personnel, and it's prosecutors who refuse to fairly and even-handedly enforce the law. It is the triumph of politics over public safety, and I agree with my colleague from Maryland 100%. We need to have bipartisan support for restoring the proper place of public safety. Fortunately, that is, I think, what you're seeing right now, is the pendulum is starting to swing back towards sanity. Even in my home state of California, the district attorney of San Francisco was recalled. The district attorney of the neighboring county, Alameda, where Oakland is on the verge of being recalled. Police departments that had their funding cut have had it restored, and a ballot initiative that would reverse some of our worst drug and theft laws is gaining overwhelming support. So the work of this committee, I think, has been very important in swinging the pendulum back the other way. And as a final note, I just want to say thank you to the victims and families who are here. Your voice is incredibly important in that as well. I can't imagine how painful it must be to relive the loss and the trauma and the horror that you went through, but your voices are incredibly important in catalyzing the change that this city and this country needs. Thank you. I yield back.